It is time! Let's get into the final game of the day. DFM taking on CGA, two very well-known teams in this league for maybe different reasons. DFM, the consistent kings, coming through very, very, very clean all the time. They only lost against Sengoku so far, and they have been looking pretty good since. CGA, not gonna have the same title. They are pretty interesting to watch. You know, they are the coin flip for a reason, and we'll have to see which one they choose to be today. Are they going to be the strong team that could potentially bring a big upset, or is it going to be the CGA that we saw against V3? Well, we'll have to find out. But boys, the last game of the day, Temporal. How are you feeling about this matchup? Do you feel like CGA has the potential to take games off of DFM?
Yeah, I think Hybrid is really, really pivotal in the current meta. I think put him on something big, and he will have the time to push CGA over the line. It's just whether the rest of the map can keep it together, keep him well defended.
Yeah, he did drop something like 78,000, I think, damage on that
Yep.
Ezreal performance the other day, which is absolutely absurd considering they lost that game. Beautiful Crow, is that the kind of stuff you want to see him on? Or would you actually prefer a more, I guess, historically chosen hyper carry?
Honestly, nah. He can run it back and do better than the performance that he did yesterday and still be superb. I feel like, yes, CGA, very coin flippy. On the good day, they're the best. On the bad day, they're V3 too. It's just...
That is a good way to describe it.
So it's just really going to be a pressure game for them. You know, you are going up against DFM, who have found a return to form after losing in week 1 and being a little bit shaky in week 2. Day 2 rather. It's just, can CGA get it done? That's the biggest question I have here. I was going to go into this with like, is DFM going to stay consistent? But I feel like, can CGA get it done is the bigger question here.
They're the bigger variable for sure. We're expecting good from DFM, you know, solid 8 out of 10 League of Legends. It's nearly certainly going to be a win for them. But there is so much volatility in CGA. And, you know, we've seen a few flips one way, a few flips the other. And the coin is still spinning. It is so exciting.
The coin is spinning, but we are going to be going into pick and bans. I was going to talk about the Olaf, but it's already banned. Spoiler alert. But Temporal, Beautiful Crow, take us away for the final game.
All right. What's the message, Crow, from DFM? I think it's no Viking is the answer.
Yeah, absolutely not. Get that Mad Lad out of here. Take the Olaf off the table. They don't want to deal with it for a second. Honestly, I don't blame them. And the Lucian going to come through. Once again, keeping him off the table. In response, CGA will take the Corki and the Sedge and see what their final ban is here.
6 power picks on the patch. This one's Wukong or not. Zeri taken away. Wow. And this is nearly certainly going to be the Monkey King for Steel.
Yeah, it's a given automatically. Just oh man, Olaf's gone. Bet. Oh no, Sejuani bet.
Surprise!
Who would have thought?
With Corki gone away, this is Senna. If CGA want to play it, I think it less suits their team composition. Like competitively, would turn all the nameplates off. You just lock in the Senna Gench here, or you lock in Senna and keep something a little more flexible. CGA maybe even thinking about it, taking their time, but it is not really the sort of thing Hybrid likes to play. They're going to substitute that with an Ezreal, and this opens up DFM to come through blue 1-2 with a Kaiser lane and maybe a winning jungler, as that Trundle is more normally a response than something to open up. Viego could be a trap here. It is not good enough into the Trundle Ezreal.
Yeah, it feels like a bait. Oh man, already CGA have a nifty comp with the Trundle Ezreal, but the Kai'Sa will be the lock-in.
That's the Kai'Sa. Yeah. Could this be the Yuumi? Could this be the Rakan? Something to complete that bottom lane and let the Kai'Sa push the advantage harder and faster? It will be.
Yeah, very solid combination right there. I mean, it just works. You want to have a lot of mobility. You want to have a lot of movement going up against an Ezreal and possibly Karma. The Karma hovered there. So, I mean, it's just a really good response into what was given by CGA.
There is an issue with the Karma there. As soon as she is not able to one-shot the backline, as soon as she has to actually play in the wave, it does fall apart. CGA, they're going to dip, dive, and duck and dodge that potential scenario. Instead, Kaito's all-empowered Zoe that has looked so good for CGA throughout this split. Has really shown some fantastic performances. They're going to defend that on 3. So Hybrid will be carrying, but Kaito will not be supporting in this game.
Okay. So the pickup from Kaito on the Zoe, I do like that. Yeah, very, very high damage and very much preferred over the Karma Hover, not gonna lie. So it definitely adds the utility plus the damage aspect to CGA and allows him to, get those long distance engages or follow-ups rather with the Sleepy Trouble Bubbles. And it's gonna be the Azir Galio ban. Okay, very good looking out on that. Taking out two
Two
very
mid laners that resist Zoe and then
yes.
contribute to the rest of their team. That's the sort of thing we're going for. We want the Zoe to make a difference. We want DFM to make a choice with no good way out. 2 supports banned away that resist Rakan quite well, that would allow this Ezreal to play through the game in huge pop-off performances that we've come to love and know from Hybrid. Support and top lane are both open here. Heavy versus Nap was the highlighted matchup by the LJL broadcast. Whether Nap will be receiving that R5 should just be shown here. Will be the Kench supporting the Ezreal. That is a doomed lane in bottom. Hybrid will struggle.
Yeah, very interesting, for lack of a better term. Pick up here in the Tom Kinch is the decider to pair into this bot lane. I mean, I guess they're really just trying to hope that Hybrid can survive by himself and allow Hybrid...
With the Gangplank lock-in, we need some more magic damage now from DFM. This is a full AD team. Gangplank gets around that slightly, has some deep armor penetration built into the kit, and then goes further with items. But now, Yaharong, if he's not piloting this Gangplank, must be on something magical. CGA will get to respond. Most trad mages really don't like Zoe. This is going to be hugely difficult. The Orianna... it can do fine, but it's going to lean on steel. Sorry, it's going to lean on Udapon, on this Kaiser. It's going to lean on steel, getting up and being that front line. Otherwise, that Orianna will eventually become vulnerable. They've traded it out for this top on R5 now into the Gangplank. Please don't pick Narnap.
Oh, man. It's super possible.
Better.
But go for the better option here.
Gwen is just so great at taking the 1v1 to Gangplank and will go for it. That is a challenge against Ebby in the top lane.
Okay, yeah. Now I have a little bit more faith in the CGA composition. They were scaring me there for a moment. I think me and you both had a little bit of trepidation, like, hey, wait a minute, what are they doing? But yeah, I do like the rounding out of this composition too. DFM have a very skirmishy comp. That can be pretty damn dangerous all across the board with how much potential that has, but CGA have a lot of good answers into it. A lot of denial, I would say, coming out from CGA.
CGA is certainly playing it slower with the Tom Kent. And, if you don't commit, you just pull out Kassin, just pull out anything, get the Trundle Pillar in the way, rinse and repeat in 20 seconds. They don't want to commit. They want to try and find someone out of position. It's on DFM's mistakes, a dangerous way to be playing this game, in my personal opinion, but hopefully one that favors the Ezreal with the longer trading patterns, the slower, just poke over and over again just to keep at the edge of range way. That's the only way they're getting around Kaiser here in this game. Otherwise, DFM are set up for success.
Yeah, set up for success is definitely a way to put it. They just have a lot of options, but yes, like you said, lots of scale up on the side of CGA. But
it's difficult, right?
It's difficult, very difficult to see.
I think unless Kaido goes huge, it's going to become impossible to play this one quite quickly unless you hold DFM at that perfect range, which is very difficult into the Kaiser, into things like the Gangplank that do like that slower style to pick a huge multi-man barrel out. CGA have got a few fine points here. They've got the Gwen, Nap trying to take it to Ebby, trying to push the 1v1 as hard as they can. We've got Hybrid. There's some defensive pieces, even if it's not an advantageous matchup. And then Kaido Zoe has looked excellent. I'm just not convinced it's enough, Crow.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. It's been very good, very well executed. But I just think that DFM played a different tempo than a majority of the rest of the league. So it's going to be very difficult to see CGA rise up to that level. Like, that's the big question. Can CGA get it done? Can they rise up to this level at DFM that Sengoku play on? Like, they it just does feel like that two-team race, and CGA are trying to prove that, hey, we could be in contention too. So we are getting into it. Our final game of the day, Crest Gaming Act versus DetonatioN FocusMe. And right now, just see some early warding coming in. Just chilling out.
Nemo and Hybrid just playing up in this bush. They're going to try and deny anyone coming forwards with this CGA. They're just looking for mistakes. They're just looking for opportunities. We will find out the ward here. Gold donated over to Hybrid. The experience shared, so won't meaningfully make a difference. It means the DFM will not be able to start at their own red buff.
Yeah, they're just completely bullying him off. And Harp sticking around, just seeing if he can get some tags in before he leaves.
Farms a bit of his own gold, you know. Kassin, not too worried about that one, but that means we do have vertical jungling now. We do have Steel on this top side. He's trying to take away this red buff. It is his desired start. Kaido will ward away, so they will know that the jungler, that Steel, will have been here and will be pathing back down and away. As lanes come together, Kassin could try something really funky here. He's not got the pillar leveled, so it's all good.
Yeah, it's going to eat some shots from Yaharong.
Is he going to contest Steel as fast as possible?
Wow, okay.
All right, that's a camp up. That's a camp up for the Troll King, and that does leave Steel in a bit of a funny position. Does get level 2.
Yeah,
but now he has some difficult choices about where to go on the map. He's not going to wrap around behind Nap. Harp in the bottom lane has found Nemo.
Wow. Oh, wow. Just all inning. Literally just walking up and hitting that W as soon as they hit that level 2. Being able to get that battle dance in, or grand entrance in, rather. And we were speaking about that. This Tom Kinch pick was a little iffy for CGA, but we do have Kassin coming down.
All right, if he gets the pillar behind, the Abyssal dive.
Oh, that was so clean. There's no escape for Udapon. They're looking to give it over to Hybrid to make sure he gets it. Has to Arcane Shift forward to secure the kill. But hey, we take those, and CGA already on the board.
A little bit of mind games, a little bit of, oh yeah, we're a winning lane, we can play up on this. And while Harp reads it, Udapon hesitates a moment too long, does not flash away. And for keeping hold of some of his summoner spells, DFM's AD carry will fall at first blood. Hybrid just on another level completely right now.
Yeah, I mean it's I don't want to say it's night and day from them in spring than it is the summer, but they definitely are playing more consistent, more tight knit. So far, there's always that chance, but so far CGA is playing really, really well, and I'm very, very impressed.
Okay, a little bit of pushing lane. Steel with that invade was reduced on the map. He's not been able to influence a lane yet. The main difference here, we'll see in the replay. Kassin, he's just coming forwards. You know, it's so good on Trundle just to drop sides of your jungle. Udapon does not flash away, doesn't think it's a huge threat. The timing is perfect. Nemo not coming forwards until Kassin revealed himself and donating over to Hybrid to maximize the gold output from their first takedown.
Yeah, and I do feel like there was a level of disrespect there with how far Udapon was playing up in that lane. I mean, he's like, oh, I have flash available, it should be fine, blah, blah, blah. But, like, you were that far away from Harp. You were that far up in lane against the Tom Kinch and the Ezreal. So I just feel like DFM were not playing with the utmost respect they should have been in this case.
A little surprise. That's all right, though. We've still got the rest of the game to figure it out. Kassin, pathing back up to his top side, will be spotted out. Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong color of ping. In any case, he is on the Krugs and will path down mid the next focal point. As soon as Zoe gets 6, you can look for moving her in and out of lane nice and safely and starting to attack Steel, a jungler who's already been set behind on his desired path. And it just adds that little bit extra to Zoe when you can already start attacking people, burn summoner spells from your opponent's jungle, and then chain them through a small fight. Quick 2v2 can get really nasty. That's kind of where I want to see Kassin go next. Instead, he's warping it around. He's going to try and pick out Evie, who's got a lead in this top side, but for how much longer?
Yeah, manages to get a little bit of speed boost. Oh, great pillar. Evie's still holding onto the flash for the final moments to know if he can get away. Kassin walks into tower range, does not have enough damage, and Evie will heal off of that grass proc and stay alive. Didn't even have to burn the flash either, so...
Kassin punished for his time in the top side. That is DFM now onto the dragon. Priority is completely neutral in bot, but with Steel there, they have the numbers advantage. They will manage to get themselves on the board here. The gold lead is still 600. It's not super meaningful right now, but that is the difference in bot lane. That is the sheen on Hybrid in that gold lead.
Yeah, allowing that item advantage. I mean, Ezreal with the Sheen is so annoying to deal with early if you're not able to handle it properly, but very good on Evie to hold his summoners because he knew he was able to get away and DFM in DFM fashion respond accordingly on the map with literally with no wasted motion at all. Just able to pick up that first Drake and just shore up this gold lead a little bit. But this roaming Trundle. Casson is just doing his best Globetrotter impression, is going everywhere as much as he can, taking whatever small bits of camps that he wants to, but just shows up in everybody's lane. I believe he's ganked in all 3 lanes now.
Yep, manages to get out on the map. It's important when you get that lead in the jungle to get out there and maintain it, lest catch up XP completely make it useless. Instead of going down into the bot here, there's not a lot to be found with the minion wave gone. So we'll be stealing this red buff. We'll be getting Kaito out of lane, as we sort of mentioned. Level 6 on the Zoe. Just so powerful. If you can find the enemy jungler as fast as possible, get them before they're level 6. Burn key summoner spells. While they might not find Steel, they do find a significant chunk of his jungle.
Yeah, just going in, stealing what they can and getting out. That's the thieves' code as it goes, and just doing a great job. CGA playing very disciplined here, as they just trying to create these small pockets, these small little cuts and holes and whatnot before they actually rip and tear and make these big advantages that they need to push this game state forward in their favor. Top lane still sitting, relatively easy as it's going to go. Is just in this early game, Gwen, they reduced her early game a lot comparatively to when she first came out, so she's a lot more of a scaling pick. Save for GP, so it's just that kind of song and dance. His harp is very low here in the spot lane. That's a dangerous level. CGA can definitely go in on that. Just still hovering on the bot side though, making sure nothing too crazy happens.
Kaido just dropping a ward near mid. The Herald will be the priority now for Crest Gaming Axe. DFM look to recall in the bottom lane. Whether they will move up Udapon and Harp here for a late contest is the question. They're thinking about it. That was in and out of the base for Udapon, and they are moving up to the top side. Yaharong here will have some severe trouble getting in against Kaido. Zoe just loves these choke points in and around mid. While Hybrid is farming, it's on DFM now. They might be a little too late to contest this. They might lose both sides of the map.
Yeah, a little too late as they're jumping in. Okay.
Kissing got the objective.
Yeah, Herald does go the way of CGA. The fight is on. He is dodging out as much as he can. Great sleeping trouble ball from Kaito. Gonna go and get some damage. Great battle dance and Guardian proc from Harp, though, to make sure Yaharong doesn't take too much damage. And they're in and they're out. And just, like I said before, really controlled, precise play from CGA right now.
A little too slow from DFM. They weren't able to get the recalls off fast enough from their bot lane. That is Hybrid with an extra 2 plates. 320 gold to bolster the Ezreal, who's already doing so much work.
Yeah, he might go back and get him a new pair of boots in that regard, or another sword. It's up to him. I can't control what he buys. He's actually going to go ahead and complete the Essence Reaver and buy another sword. So the man is loaded right now and getting out on the map. Gonna go ahead and use the TP to get back to lane too.
He's going for the accelerated build, so looking to not take his foot off the pedal at any stage. The Mythic comes quite late, but the damage spike is now on the Essence Reaver, and it will not stop. As the mana regeneration means that Hybrid will not struggle to stay in lane for long periods of time, ever again.
Yeah, we got the great mana regen, got the tier, got the Reaver. It's a happy Ezreal right now, I would say, is Hybrid, as he is the only one with a kill in the entire map. Also, second highest CS. Yaharong just a few over him. But I'd like to think he's having a pretty good early game right now. Looking to repeat that performance from last time.
It's going great for Ezreal into Kaiser. A pretty difficult matchup with Dragon coming in less than 30 seconds now. Both teams locking in and trying to find an angle. CGA do have the priority. They have pushed this tower in, and Hybrid given room to open up. The Herald will complete. And now they can either look for a dive or look to make DFM
it's gonna be bad. Oh, this is going to be bad. They're diving straight on into it. Shelly's going to provide some backup, but the target selection is not doing the best for them. Manages to get the tower to less than 20%. Used a lot of ultimates there just to get as much damage down as possible. This Hextech Drake is live, and honestly, Temporal, I don't know if CGA wants to go for this now, as they do go back in to tag some more damage on under the tower. All right, Cassin, she's going to solo it, apparently.
They've got plenty of time, even with Yaharon coming down. There is no way DFM get in here with Steel on such low health. Aren't even able to move out from their own tower, and the tempo TP from Kaido means the pressure will continue to be applied. Let's look at the replay here. So Hybrid's up in the front, holding the Arcane Shift. Anything committed towards him can now not be used in defense. Cannot now be used to deny the dive. Kaido connects the bubble. And just such clean execution to chain that into the Abyssal Dive, as seen, causes so much trouble. And that is the end of the Dragon contest, as CGA continue to accelerate over DFM.
Well, I mean, hey, we were saying they needed to play consistent. They needed to play at a neutral pace and not try to push things too fast and too crazy. And honestly, CGA are doing a really, really great job of controlling this tempo, controlling the ebb and flow, making sure they execute their plays properly. Sure, they didn't get the tower, but they did get the kill onto the AD carry and also got the dragon in return. And also, Hybrid is in a state now he could just solo the tower and bot lane by himself. So all in all, this 2K gold lead that CGA has amounted right now is very much well-deserved for how they have been playing.
They've got their lead now. They just have to hold on to it. You mentioned Hybrid. So strong already. The Ezreal struggles to align himself and sort of assign himself to a lane on his own, as you normally would. Against the Kaiser, as even from this far behind, is a really easy trade into that. And the Serrated Dirk means that despite the deficit, Udapon has chosen power now over power later. And with that, there is the question of not letting Udapon back into the game, not giving him that chance. So Hybrid will be escaping away to a different lane, currently walking down mid. That's a pretty decent option to try and knock down the next tower, do as much as possible. Do prefer Zoe staying in mid as long as possible because it's got all of those opportunities to go for River, to go for different things. Kassin has found Udapon. He should be able to get out of here.
That pillar was so good. All right, but no backup to speak of. He's just being a little bit of a bully. Disrupting timings.
Everyone's holding flash. Everyone's holding ultimates. Yeah. I wouldn't worry too much for DFM AD carry. As we do see Steel taking a whole chunk of damage. Hybrid really having a great time right now, and that Man Immune is not more than a few minutes away.
Yeah, and once that comes online, that's like we thought he hurt before, and he's about to ramp up so much more damage. As we are once again paying a small little visit to top lane, 0-0, 117, 113. They're just.
We're going to see more out of Nap now that he's got the level 9. We're going to see more again when he's got the Leeching Leer. From there, the Gwen able to just deal so much damage and take it to Gangplank in the 1 versus 1. We'll have to see whether Ebby, with this early game, managed to get enough stuff to hold on.
Yeah, as we do just have that slower game state, such as the state of the meta right now. 14 minutes in, 2 kills. I mean, hey, like, it is what it is, and that is the meta right now. As we just get vision clearing game. If there was a crowd, they'd be cheering for wards. Both support's going to do supportal things. And right now, just CGA looking for another way in, breaking some more towers. I would say, we do see Hybrid rotating towards this middle lane. So yeah, that looks to be the next focus. As Herald number 2 is going to pop up here. You look at that tower play gold graph, is so nasty.
Yeah, it's pretty one-sided. That is nearly all for Hybrid in this bottom lane. But DFM are on the Herald first. CGA a little slow to rotate, just making sure they grab that minion wave first, and they have left it quite late, 3,000 health.
Yeah, is Kassin gonna go in for it? No steal, no chance, but the fight looks to be on. A full 5v5 here, the first 5v5 of the game. Tongue Lash will land, but CGA not gonna try and commit to any sort of engage. I say that as Kaito jumps over the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, and a Paddle Star gets a bunch of damage off, and here comes Steel jumping in, blast to knock Kassin away. Oh, okay.
So the Rocket Barrage was required. CJ were buying time for Hybrid there. Got a chunk off the tower with those ultimates, with that ultimate expended from Gangplank from Ebby. push is denied. So great work from CGA to force out something extra from DFM and continue their momentum, even if they didn't quite grab the Herald.
Yeah, and I mean, just really good job for DFM to stave off the aggression, kind of counterpunch CGA for what they've been doing this entire game. Very nice job for them to do that and just keep the gold lead as minimal as possible, not give up anything that could balloon that, cause that to just increase exponentially. It's just shows the discipline and tact of this team as we do see a quick engage. Supercharge will get Udapon out of dodge as once again Cassandra is going to solo a dragon.
It's great assignments here. CGA feel comfortable just holding the pressure on in lane with the numbers disadvantage. And with that, they can just pick up these objectives, not miss out on any farm, and double dip on resources in this early game. Will be on DFM now. They need to find a way to attack Hybrid.
Oh, man. Has a flash, has Arcade Shift available. It's going to waste some time of Harp. And,
oh, man, that's some real mind games. Udapon not even allowed to recall this Hybrid. Just checks and says, hey, I know what you want to do. I'm in your head.
Yeah, man.
This is the counter matchup, but it's not going very well for you, is it? Udapon has now got the Kraken Slayer, so a whole bunch of extra damage. Really thought it might be a crown game with the Zoe involved, but it's not the case. Instead, DFM's AD carry feels the need to provide that damage, to provide that diving threat for his team.
Yeah, as Harp gets the flash combo onto Hybrid, who doesn't even have to blow his own flash. It's just... Now it does feel like DFM trying to go for broke, trying to get those desperation plays out. And CGA's like laughing at him like, bruh, nice try, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely CGA.
It's difficult right now. It's not going great. That Man Immune just finished, so Hybrid is well and truly established on the map. Kassin, he's causing a bit of trouble. Don't expect this to go for a full fight. Instead, look at the supports moving up through the river. Will be a contest over vision in the jungle. Nemba's not going to go too deep as both teams look for an unforced area. They look for someone to get caught out. The trouble bubble comes after the panel start, but we're going to rinse and repeat it. It's coming again.
Oh, yep. Fighting in this corridor all around mid. Tier 1 is the name of the game here. CGA finally with a little bit of a minion wave, and all 5 members will be able to knock down this tower. And they're just going to waltz right back out. Not even try to push it any further. Not going to try and go for a pick off or nothing. Just take the objectives and slowly, like a python, choke DFM out the best they can. And it's surprisingly working for them.
Mission success. Hybrid gets even more money. Across the map, DFM now have to look for a response. They have to find something, some way for numbers advantage. They're going to use the Herald. Try and get that. They will get this tower out to tower, but it is a small prize for Herald 2. You're wrong, will pick up the gold, but it's only 300. It's only small pieces. That 2,000 gold lead, it's really, really coming to bear on DFM now. It's not the hugest in number, but at this stage in the game, DFM have to turn something around. They have to have a big fight, maybe a big barrel chain, a huge shockwave. We're looking to that. Otherwise, Hybrid has been allowed to play through and will continue to do so.
Yeah, and it's just really looking like DFM are trying to set some sort of trap. They're really playing catch right now. It's just CGA moving as a unit, moving as a group consistently throughout this map and throughout this game. It's 19 minutes in and we're still at the 2 kills mark because DFM just can't keep a hold of CGA whenever they do get him in a trap, when they ever do get him in a bite. As we do see Kaito moving in, and yeah, that's a dead Zoe. They're gonna throw the entire, not even just the kitchen sink. They're gonna throw the whole kitchen. They're gonna throw the refrigerator. They're gonna throw the stove, the freezer, everything. As they're gonna pick up 2 quick kills in the top lane.
Huge patience from DFM as they keep that top brush. They keep the trap, and with that, they are back on the board 2-2. This might be the start of the comeback. This might be their way back into the game. We'll see it here in the replay. Yaharong just gives himself away, just says, this isn't a death brush. I'm just up in this lane. Come get me, Kaido. Try your best. And with that huge flash, his Harp and Steel do not hesitate.
Oof,
that shockwave, that all-important extra cooldown pulls Nemo back out, finishes up
Real.
Kaido. That is the gold going back over. That is DFM making up for lost time as they try and claw their way back in.
Yeah, 3 key ultimates used to take out 2 members of CGA. Well deserved though, well rewarded by DFM as they are, trying to inch back into this game as it feels so close, like shout out Calvin Harris, feels so close to you right now. It's a force field, but like it just any moment, the slightest thing for either team can really make this entire powder keg of a game explode. So you do have Cloud Drake spawning here in 15 seconds. CGA are around. A few are opting to recall to get whatever items, spend some standing gold, some pocket gold that they have, and they just know they have better control of the bot side of the map currently. That's DFM.
Hold on
No
there.
way.
Yeah, they're going for the trade here. So yeah, Dragon not really worth it. Kassin, he's hovering backwards and forwards. He's waiting for information from his team. DFM fall away. They now have the job of charging across mid as fast as possible or making another choice. They've got to know this Dragon's going down. Harp, it's going to be a check on his own. It's not going to be enough.
Oh no, yeah, he's not able to get it down fast enough, not building the damage. Hybrid is behind though. There goes the rest of the team. Arcane shifts into Harp, who has to force him out. And look at that. Temporal, no problem. Like, no team, no problem. I got it. Relying on his buddies to help him out. Kessin just 3 dragons back to back to back as the shockwave lands on the Hybrid, who does get tagged, who does get popped up. Save from Nemo. Tom Kinch doing Tom Kinch things. No problem. I got you, buddy. Just complete denial.
So frustrating for Yarong. Just picks Hybrid at the edge of range. If he keeps on doing that, if he keeps the Ezreal at arm's length, that is a decent way for DFM back in. This gangplank scaling up nicely as well. It's such a risk now. CGA have got to know they're feeling a bit rattled. They thought they had this lead. The gold now completely even.
Oh man,
it's in different places across the board, but CGA no longer the leading lady. They will move into this jungle again. They do need to rinse and repeat this, but they should have Kaido behind them.
Oh, Nemo moving forward here with the Abyssal Dive. Looking forward, not with the best placed pillar. Fighting over this red buff. Looking over the backside, though. Harp looking to get a cheeky flank. Kaito is over the backside. Hyper jumping forward into a bush and immediately gets shut down by Utapon, making him pay for his transgressions. Cassin trying to make something happen, but that's no way it's gonna go their way. DFM quickly collapse and snap up 3 quick kills. And hey, man, that's looking like a free Baron to me.
Too much pressure on Hybrid leaves him in a position where he arcane shifts into multiple members, and with that DFM scoop their prize up and run all away with it. They are now back in the lead. Our defending champions showing their grit, showing their resilience. They move on to the Baron, look in a commanding position. For CGA now, there is only a huge fight to be had. They have to get this Ezreal up in position because those counter matchups, Nemo just throwing himself under the bus. No idea what he was thinking. It's now a huge struggle. Let's look back at the replay. Was he stealing Utapon, fade into Fog of War, and Hybrid feels the need to get into this jungle. This is what you do with the Zoe, but Kaido's not here. It's too much. It's too extra. They find steal. They keep moving forwards. They know they have a decent position here. They know they have the teleport out of Nap as well. Hybrid, he sees Yarong on what he thinks is his own, goes for steal, but Harp is there as well.
Greedy, my goodness.
It's too much.
I'm not looking at Twitch chat right now, but I'm going to assume at least 2 to 3 people have put the CGA copy pasta in there.
Middle cut, I'm so sorry. It looked like it was going to happen. Unfortunately, not today, my friend.
It's okay, Middle cut. I'll do a shot for you after this game because, man,
LJL.
That was a choice by Hybrid, I would say, as we do see Baroned up DFM have now
look for another pick. Yarong's up on the side. They have numbers in mid. Kaido needs to be supported, needs to be getting in that position. Why the controlled mage is being sidelined, I could not tell you.
Yeah, as they ballooned that small little even lead, rather, they had even gold into a about a 5k gold lead now as they're getting collapsed on here. This could be good for CGA, but hey, I've been wrong before. As everything's going to snuff, we do see them get onto 3, but the charm from Harp being a good denial tool is Kessin has to get out of there. Yutapon absolutely massacres them with how much damage this Kai'Sa is able to pop out. Gets onto Kaido and is looking real dicey here. Just when you thought they were down, they are not out as they have enough damage to supplement a DFM, routing CGA for attempting to even try to step to them.
They managed to push them out of their own jungle with that CGA now, showing the struggle, showing the compositional difference here. This is stuff that the Kai'Sa can just do time and time again into Ezreal setups, into those team members who meant to keep arm's length.
Oh, no,
that was
Hybrid.
just so extra.
Hybrid. We were praising his early game, and now we see him getting put in the bin time and time again, trying to make something happen. And DFM 5 strong already took out the top inhibitor tower, going for the inhib next, going for the mid next, and Hybrid's down for a solid 30 or so seconds. Yeah, they could keep pushing this all the way in.
The death push is coming. So many Baron minions. You can clear out mid with all your cooldowns, and the top lane coming through as well.
Yeah, Temporal, this might be it. Off of those 2 little skirmishes, DFM pull it back all the way in their favor. Baroned up and ready to rock. They are looking for the Nexus itself, hitting it down. Yutapon's free firing, unable to be contested. Ultimate's in, 2 to multiple, but he does get checked out. Doesn't matter. Too little, too late. Hybrid, and that CGA falling. DFM rising once again.
You know, it looked dicey for a little while, but they are our evergreen champions for a reason. DetonatioN FocusMe, hold on and swing back in decisive fashion.
Man, we were like, yeah, CGA, they're doing really well. They're, it's like, hey, everything's looking very nice, doing a good job. And Hybrid, what are you doing? And then that was literally it. Like, just poor boy, man. Like, give him a pat on the back for attempting it, but DFM, they waited, they bided their time, and they saw the traps that they laid. They capitalized on them.
Yeah, you apply that pressure to an Ezreal. It doesn't matter how far he is ahead with that composition, you will find a way back in. We're going to do a full breakdown with JReal after a short break, so don't touch that browser.
Well, we are back for the rundown now of the day. DFM keeping it consistent, and that is how it is. Slow and steady wins the race. Didn't have the greatest start for DFM, but they were able to hold it together and come back. CGA, the memes in the chat now, so I can finally say it, but can't guarantee anything is their new name. And it is true. They picked up leads. They were picking up the wins. They were starting off strong. I was like, okay, maybe it's that kind of day. And then temporal. They just couldn't make it happen.
It's perfect. 100% no money back guarantee on the performance today. You're right. Slow and steady did win the race. Maybe not that slow in the future, DFM, please. We saw Kassan have a huge impact in the early game. We saw Hybrid pop off the way he does. It didn't quite work out. I think there were some really questionable decisions about where Kaido ended up going, because we saw him do so much in the early section of the mid game, and then it fell away into the abyss. We'll talk about it a bit more, but I feel CGA dropped the bag here big time.
Yeah, it was a little bit interesting from them. And I want to talk about a couple of picks. I think the Trundle, which is one that we don't too much of, but I liked it a lot. I thought it was really interesting, beautiful. What are your thoughts on this new pickup there for Kassan? I feel like he had pretty decent impact.
Honestly, yeah, the Trundle I did like a lot from Kassan, knowing his other playing, whatever he does love to play. It just really worked well for what this composition was trying to do. It's just the other macro decisions were not the best for them, and some other micro decisions that we're not gonna go over hybrid. But it was a really good pick. I did appreciate how well he was placing his pillars and how well he was able to just counter jungle and take objectives all by himself like a big boy, Like it was really impressive, but it just did not go the way that they wanted to in the end.
Biggest
Yeah.
standout to me is the Trundle is nearly always a counter. That was just picked on two blind. So this might be a
Right.
CGA we see more of in coming days of the LJL, and that's quite exciting.
Yeah, and it's definitely exciting if you're a CGA fan in some aspects of the fact that, okay, you can start to build leads against DFM, the early game team, the one that we say is always kind of picking up the pace. And if CGA can have those good early games, maybe against some other teams, they could potentially pick up some wins. But it is also about closing it out. And we talk about CJ being coin flip on a day. It feels like now they might even be coin flip in the match, like minute to minute. So I don't know if they can find some stability there. Maybe just get themselves a little bit more consistent. Because if they do become a bit more consistent, they are actually looking pretty good. And I think that there is potential chance for them to really rank highly in those leaderboards and have a good shot at playoffs. Oriana, though, a new pick that we saw today. Temporal. It feels like Oriana has been around for a very long time, but recently has kind of fallen off.
She's not in the best place competitively now. We don't have such great ball delivery systems. It's a bit more conditional. I think the reason it was picked here for Yaharong is there is no great answer into Kaido Zoe that wasn't banned and defended. CJ did their job in draft. And when you've got nothing left, you got to think about what you're offering to the team. You've already got the Wukong locked in on Blue One. You might as well have that clutch factor, have that bit extra. And then when you're playing against a CJ that relies on hybrid, that has Kaito on these standout performances, you make the approach difficult. You attack the player instead of the draft because you've lost that option. They've done their job excellently. Oriana is an excellent pick for this. And, we saw that clutch Shockwave in the top lane securing 2 kills instead of 1. And Yaharong did his job here.
Yeah, I think Viewful, you probably agree. I think DFM are just still looking very strong. On a bit of a weird cross comparison, because I feel like Sengoku and DFM both had pretty good games today. Do you feel like, Viewful, this matchup could go either way, or are you saying that maybe Sengoku still have that edge?
Yeah, honestly, coming into this league at the start of the year, I was looking at teams and I asked her, I was like, hey, what team is really good? And it was like, oh, DFM, of course. Oh, CGA is cool, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what about Sengoku? And they're like, yeah, they've, been top of the table contenders. They've been challengers, very strong. And it's always like that rotating 1 or 2, maybe 3 with RJ. But they really have shown through spring getting all the way up 5 games in the finals, so close, and then coming back first day of summer just decimating DFM. And I still think they keep carrying that momentum as they are the only undefeated team in the league. I do think Sengoku are still at the top of the table. DFM, I feel like they're going on that hero's journey redemption arc type stuff where they're like, okay, we lost very badly, let's climb back through to reclaim our throne. And I'm excited to see the rematch because I do feel if in another head-to-head, it might be a closer game, but I still think Sengoku are just a little bit ahead of DFM right now.
Fair enough. And overall, are you feeling confidence in DFM, or do you feel like Sengoku is still that little bit ahead?
It's almost to the point where I'm confident it'd be a repeat of sort of finals Sengoku up against DFM. I don't think they should be playing Vital in such a key matchup. That wouldn't be a good cross comparison from today. But I think Sengoku favored very slightly. It'd be an excellent match to see, and it's really exciting that it's coming up in just a few days.
Yeah, DFM looking really strong again today. Maybe not the greatest start for them, but still finishing off very cleanly. Very consistent as always. DFM. CGA sticking to their name very strongly, but definitely a bit of a dark horse. You cannot underestimate this team. Going through the rest of today's events, if you didn't get to catch any of the games from earlier, we had Burning Core versus V3, which went as most people would expect. V3 not really able to find their first win, still kind of eluding them. Game 2, Sengoku versus Russell Jesters, which was a pretty nice match to watch. Russell Jesters stepping up a little bit, but Sengoku a very, very strong team, just putting them in their place to be fair. And then the Hawks versus Axis, I would say probably the most controversial one of the day. It was definitely a bit close. It could have gone either way, but the Hawks showing that they are ready to soar to those high heights of the top of the table, and they are making to look to see if that can happen. But with that being said, that is all of the games today. We are gonna finish though with mess or impress. Okay, and I want to get your mess or impress of the day. So it can be a player, it can be a team, it could even be I guess the drafting problems that we had earlier. But
I'm ready.
We're gonna
I've
start
missed
with the
this game
messes.
so
We'll go
much.
through all the messes, and then we'll go through all the impresses to end on a good note. So, Temporal, you can kick it off with who is your mess of today?
Swamp, what did you do? One good path into complete destruction? That's the worst Lilia pathing I've seen in years. Did you want me to do another one, or should you want to turn
that's fair
it?
enough.
You want to go,
Who is
boy?
your mess of the day?
Yeah, my mess of the day. God, see, that's difficult.
It is a tough question.
I would have to say, let me think. Honestly, it would have to be the CGA macro.
Kaito and Narnia. Book 3.
Like, Kaito was just gone. Nap was like, oh, wait, I can TP.
Yeah.
And just goes the opposite direction of his team. Like, it was just, the pieces were all there. And
it was definitely questionable. It was definitely some questionable stuff, and yeah, definitely worthy of a mess. My personal mess is actually V3. I feel like they've underperformed today. Like, I think that they've actually, like, we talked about this a little bit at the start of the day. I feel like V3 have done a lot better actually this split than they have in the past, and I think they actually underperformed a lot for themselves today, and that was a little bit disappointing to see. But again, it was against a team that probably stylistically matches up pretty nicely to them. We'll have to see what they can do in the future, though. Hopefully, we get a bit more of the more active V3 that we've had in days 1 and 3. Now, on a bit of a lighter note, who was your impress temporal of today?
DetonatioN, FocusMe have diamond hands when it comes to just not losing the game. And while CGA did drop the bag against them, they knew where they needed to apply the clutch factor and then bring the game back so swiftly. Really impressed by our Evergreen champions. I want them to come back, and I want the game against Sengoku to be that good.
And if you've useful, who is your impress of the day?
It would have to be Blank, honestly, showing how well he is, like, when he plays at that world champion level, you know, and when he gets his hands on the Poppy, he did a really great job of just making sure that the Hawks were able to get through that early game, making sure that Marble was able to be the carry that he needed to be, and just being that facilitating tank for his team. Just so good in the game that they played against Axis.
Indeed, and my impress is, maybe it's a bit of a soft one. I'm going to give it to Vital. I feel like first day on the stage against a decent team, played pretty well. I think it was a good showing for him. It was a good say, you know what, Honey's not the only good ADC on this roster. Maybe there's competition now between the two spots, but we'll have to see in the future. But
if you debut against Solon Secret, just saying those words, and it's a Solon Secret hungry for a win, oof, good job, Vital.
Oh
Yeah, good job, Vile, indeed. So that is going to be our show for today. Thank you very much to everyone that came out and watched this show. It's always a blast. And obviously some great games. We will be back on Wednesday. I'll be joining you there for some more action from the LJL.